I know what I want to say. I paint. I don't speak much. I'm a visual person. Paintings are my voice. I hope I can communicate through my paintings as well as I might be communicating through talking. I think I list rainbows as one of the most difficult things to capture in paint. It really is very difficult. I wouldn't recommend you do it if you're trying to paint. I really wouldn't. You go mad. But to see it, I want to try and capture it. Okay. The number of times I've painted rainbows is limited because every rainbow takes like forever. Every time I look at it, it's changed and it's not quite the same. I know the spectral colours are all the same, but they look so different. Depending on the light, you can say, is that a rainbow? And it is, of course, but the optics of it are one thing. I'm not too interested in the technical side of it, but I am interested in how it interacts with rain coming, the changes in the light, the changes from the sun, if it suddenly breaks through, and the rainbow will fade slightly and become quite faint, but it will suddenly come back, full on. And it's something that only magic can make. I'm lucky to be in Falmouth because tall ships are based here. And they finish, they start and they finish here in Falmouth. When I say they finish here, I only mean it's in the mind at that stage because they'd be long gone across the water onto the continent. But it still lives with me anyway. And I can still see them if I look out from my studio and I think that's where the tall ships were. And the scale of them seems to be almost ideal for Falmouth. It adds so much to the scenery. And you can believe that it takes a lot of people to man a tall ship. It takes a lot of sail to get them going. They are wonderful. They're huge. The scale of them is undeniably wonderful in itself. I just enjoy the fact that they're there, catching the light, going through the waves. They're full of life. The whole thing is so tied up with nature. It blends in and is part of it. And I hope it always will be. And over the years, I've been to Coombe on numerous occasions, and it's always different. Precisely the same buildings, precisely the same in a way of the light, but it's always different. And it just formulates in a little capsule something that I want to try and capture. You've got the light reflecting off the water, and that reflects off the buildings, the cottages. Oh, it's a wonderful thing. It's a message that's coming out from something that's been there forever almost. And I doubt it will change, although the people will, and the style of life will, but the place, the light, the water reflections, and the rippling off the water onto the hull of the boat just brings more life to it. But it's a particular type of life, it's a particular type of area, and you can blank out everything else and just enjoy that because it's astounding. Boats reflecting in the water at sunset or dawn, they're all wonderful, they're all different. How to capture it in the short time scale that you've got, it's very small, not as wide as that, quite tiny, and it changes so quickly. It's almost impossible to get it down, but you may have to do some water sketches, some gouache, some acrylic. Acrylic's very useful for quick sketching and getting the feel of the day. And there's nothing like the imaging that you're going to get for a painting of that time of the day. It's so wonderful, it's so different. It's not mundane, it's just not going to work day when it's all black, white and a bit of whatever. This is something that inspires you. It makes you feel better, it picks you up, it makes you alive. And once you get back to the studio, what it does me, and just crack on with what you've seen and try to remember as much as you can of the freshness of when you first stepped out. Blossoming, as such, is a rebirth. It's telling you there's new life coming, and it's got a whole lifespan, a whole feeling of itself. You start with the blossom and it goes all the way through, and you end up with, say, fruit at the end of it. And we all go through this in life, and at every stage we alter slightly and see things slightly, and we alter fractionally. And our viewpoint is now widened, and we become maybe more, so we say, productive in different areas which we weren't concentrating on before. And that helps me as an artist, because I can now see things in a spot which mean different areas are going to say, how about me? Depending on the light, you may or may not have seen them to begin with, but to try and incorporate that in the finished painting is always a useful little touchstone which I would like to achieve in every work I do. The coastal light is extremely flexible. It fluctuates quite widely. And the trick is to try and combine some of those feelings, some of that light, to produce the work and my thoughts on the day. And without being able to specify absolutely, if you just drive along the coastline and just let the scenes, the light, the feeling imbibe you and trigger a response that makes you want to paint and capture it. Now, the Italian light is different to English light. It is warm, it is constant, and you can get a good day's work in just being where you are. You don't have to look really that hard. It all depends. But if you want a landscape that is from the land, from the countryside, then it gives it to you without going very far. I've driven hundreds of miles. My wife has, taken me, bless her. But that's one way of doing it, which is the way I do, because I get different feelings from different parts of the landscape and different times of the day. You look out of the window and I do watercolours. Now, watercolours are very fluid, very instant, and with luck, I can get them to talk to me and just say something so that when I get back to my studio, I can use those as a basis to the work that I want, that I couldn't pull off because of the time scale, but they'll now hopefully work. Waking up to see the landscape has been totally transformed because of snow. It glistens, it talks to you, it reflects, it changes the landscape entirely. What was old habits and old friends and something was ugly, not very attractive, is now wonderful with a coating of snow. This is a calm day, but it's alive. The sea is always alive. And it's up to me to try and get some of that transition between calm and breaking waves, or the little breakers along the foreshore, that makes you think, well, it is, the sea is alive. And it's very much the case that that's going to influence the painting as it develops. I can't paint all that, obviously, in one go. It's going to take 2 or 3 extras to go in to try and modify the original thought slightly to bring out the essence of what I'm trying to see and what I feel. Now, feeling is a very important part of painting. If you don't feel for it, you haven't got any feedback from it, it may not work as well as it should. In this case, it needed movement, it wanted life, it wanted enjoyment, and it wanted also a feeling of calm. You can view it in different lights, and the way you're feeling at that time can vary, and it will. So you might see in the painting more than you ever thought. Come back to it, although it might be the same painting, you're seeing it in a different light, and it has a different meaning. And this is the art of painting. The first brushstrokes say it all. This process can help me and hopefully can help you as a viewer look at it. And it will go on over the years, because I look at paintings from other collections and they still mean a lot over the years that I've been looking at them. I've been very lucky, extremely lucky. I've had a wonderful marriage, a wonderful family. What more can I ask for? I've lived to a good old age, 84, 85 coming up, if I make it. I can't grumble at all. I've been extremely lucky. And I've done exactly what I wanted to do, 100%. So, thank you.